So thank you very much. It's a great honor for me to be here and to present the view of an industrial company, which is Enedis, about what should be done in the future concerning all this issue about digitalization, introduction of massive renewable on the network. And you know, as a historical distribution company, we still have to ensure that to implement all this change, we have an efficient and a resilient network, because it could be very sexy or very attractive to connect a lot of renewable, but if we don't have a resilient network, it's no way. So coming from this part, we have a roadmap toward the full smart energy system that I will present you. So we have two major pillars in our strategy, is to have a resilient and efficient network, and I will present you the roadmap toward the full smart energy system, because in these days, in these years, the shift is totally running toward a full smart energy system. So, what is our view? Our view in France, you know, Enedis is covering 95% of the French territory with about 38 million customers and 38,000 employees. So, we have a long view, which is not by 250, but 235, because we think it's quite reasonable to have on our scale. And we think that a major part of the renewable will be implemented at this time. So we expect that 67 of extra distributed energy renewable will be connected to the network, just as a view. 67 gigawatt is about, you know, there is a big nuclear producer in France, which has in total 63 gigawatt connected to the transmission network. So that means that the power that we will have to connect to the network is more or less the equivalent in terms of power, and not in terms of quantity of electricity for sure, but in terms of power, it will be the equivalent of the total nuclear fleet in France, which is quite important. We will have to connect. We firmly believe that e-vehicle will increase a lot, and so at this time we expect to have 9 million of vehicles in France. And to do that, we need 12,000 million of charging points. 1/10 of them will be on the public, and 90% of them will be more or less private at home. We think that even if we are a little bit on this day compared to some countries about self-consumption, we think that there will be a huge increase of such new consumption, and with prosumer who will be especially with PV. We expect that the flexibilities will help the system. So flexibility could be managed through storage, but we believe with a lot of other solutions. And what is new? And what is new and totally and very important for us is a cybersecurity issue. We know that we have in France, we are Organisation Service Essentiel, so that means that we have a specific regulation which obliges us to have a certain level of safety, because of security, because you can imagine that if on the cyber side the network is not safe, it could be an issue. And with all the digitalization of the system, I will come back to that later. We will have to manage a lot of data, and we need IA to help us. So what have we done? What are we doing? In fact, in the center of this circle, there was what we have called it distribution system operator, but which is, we could say that we could have imagined that it will be just a normal network operator without many change. We think that to be able to operate the connection between the network and all the stakeholders. So in the stakeholders, you have the new elements that I have mentioned, who will have to be connected to the network. So renewable, EV, and prosumers. But we will have to connect to the local authorities. You know, the decentralization is very important in France. More and more local authorities want to have a view of what is going on the energy side. They have their own policies. They want that the local that the local electricity is consumed locally. So they have their own view how should the energy transition behave in their territory. We have the customer, for sure. They have a new expectation. They want green energy. They want to consume. They want self-consumption or local consumption communities. We have the regulator, which is we have who. The regulation is a tough topic for DSO, but we really believe that in the future, the role of the regulator will change. It's not only to separate and to ensure that there is free market for all the competitors. For sure, it will remain, but it will be an issue of how we will have to invent the new product, and we are a regulated business, so we have to work with the regulator to ensure that it will be efficient in the future. We have to work with the TSO. You know, the balance with the TSO will probably change. We can imagine that by 2035, some days in summer, there will be some day when all the production consumed in France will come from the distribution system. So it will be on our network. So if I would be very aggressive or very provocative, I would say that by 2035, in some days, it will be more the TSO who will have to adapt its behavior to the distribution to the DSO, and not the opposite. You know, in all Europe, the TSO are deciding because and I think it's reasonable. Most of the production comes on the TSO side, and they have some regulation towards the DSO. We could imagine that the balance will be a little bit different because the production will be essentially located on the DSO side. And we have to cope with euro for sure, because we have to optimize the investment. You know that there was some presentation about all the costs which are expected to be spent on all this issue, and to be sure that the final customer will have the capacity to pay his bill. We have to ensure that it is made with an efficient way in terms on capex and opex side. So for sure, you have the gray circle, which is null on one, which is 0 on 1, which is symbolizing the capacity to deal with all this information, which will be totally numeric. So you have to speed up. So to prepare 2035, it's good, it's interesting, but as it was mentioned, I am the chief technical officer. I'm not the strategic guy. So we have to be operational. So first of all, we have made some steps, some milestone, and one of our great milestones in 2022. 2022 is for us is very important because it will be the end of the rollout, of the massive rollout of the smart meters in France, and we think that we will have to be able to get all the value. We start to get all the value of the smart meters. So you have some figure on which you can see that we think that there will be huge investment to be done until this time, but you can see that we have some kind of innovation on which we want to be able to identify 50 million of capex saved through big data utilization. That we want to develop flexibility all over the territory. So we have some target for the local team. We want to keep health and safety at the maximum level with a minimum of accidents, for sure. We want to give the tools to our operator, to our employees, to ensure that they get the digital revolution and they can manage the network digitally, and as it is already done from quite a short time. We really want to access the network on the digital side, and for sure we want customer satisfaction, and we want that the IoT and all the digitalization give us improvement in the quality of electricity with a reduction of 3 minutes of SAIDI. So, as I said, we have to have, in my introduction, you have to have an operating network which is physical. And now, it was symbolic in the gray circle in the previous slide, we have to operate the digital network. Now, we really believe that we have to get some competencies about telecom, because in fact, the data side and the telecom side of the network will be more or less, we could say, as important, even if it's a little bit different, but the importance of such a network will be quite huge. So what does that mean? What does it mean? Digital network. Digital network means that we will implement sensors, and everywhere, and we really think that the data we don't have the right to waste a bit. We really think that data will be the key of the system, so we are implementing sensors on all the major substations, HVMV, on the surge arrestor and fault detectors, and we have some when we have some default from works, we are connecting some generators, so they have to be online, and we flood detector where we have some flood. And we are trying to have a new sensor which is on the connector on the cable wheel. So we have an implementation plan how to get all these sensors everywhere on our network. But the main sensor, in fact, is a smart meter, because sorry. I really come back too quickly. I speak too, because I am a little bit on time pressure. As you can see, all the sensors that we have here, we have a few thousands. So that means that in 2022, we will have 20,000 sensors, which is quite big on our network. But compared to the smart meter, the smart meter for us is a real sensor, and we will have 35 millions of sensors which will be deployed on all the network. And with such a sensor, we will be able to have a complete view, online view, on what is going on the low voltage network. You know, historically, when there was an outage or any problem on the low voltage, the only solution was just to wait for, by chance, a visit of our employees, or just to wait for the phone call of the customer. Now, we can, with Linky, we have the sensor, we can make when we have a call from the customer, we can make a diagnostic online and to see, okay, no, be careful, it's not a problem of the network, it's in your house. Or we can say, okay, we will send you a team because we have detected where is the fault. So we are able to see what is going on the low voltage. It's for us this new sensor, which is a smart meter, is a kind of over voltage alarm, and we can and through the data concentrator, which is a new telecom line that we have, we can have a lot of information. So this sensor allows us even to make some predictive maintenance. So that means Houston, we won't have a problem. That means that we will be able, through our smart meter, which you call Linky, to have a view on what is going on the network, and we have developed what specific software inside the company, which is called Cartoline, which is able to analyze all the data on the daily basis, which is running from Linky. So it's not the metering data that we need, that we want. It's more when there is over voltage or low voltage or some problem about the network, the line. We are able to detect it and to start to make to repair before the fault occur. And for employees, it's quite impressive. You know, now sometimes they are during the weekend they are called. Please, you have to go there to repair the non-fault, the non-outage, because we are quite sure that it will occur very, very quickly. So please go there. And even on the customer side, we had it's quite new. It's only 6 months now that it's really running quite well. And when you ask in a shop to close the shop to repair because there will be an outage during the 2 or 3 years, so you go and to ask the customer, please, when can we make the work, because we think that in the next 2 days you will have an outage, and the customer, you say no way, I don't want, and 3 days after he gets the outage. It's quite interesting even for our teams. And with this issue, we consider that all a major part of the maintenance in the low voltage will be done through predictive maintenance. You know, so far when we had some work on the low voltage network, it was more to wait for an outage and to say, okay, we have some timeline, and every 5, 10, or 20 years we have to change. Now we will monitor through the smart meter. So, and we will have to develop the flex. The flex will be a way to develop a good way to optimize the network. You know, with the renewable, we will have extra production during some days that we will not be able to recover. So we have developed with regulation and with all our partners of renewable a way to increase the capacity on our substation of more than 2 gigawatts, just with some flexibilities. And in the future, we consider that we will continue. We have launched this year, yesterday, 9 cases of specific flexibility all over France, which is covering totally different case of flexibility on which the market can answer. And so we have built the rule with the market, and next year we will implement them. And in the next spring, we should have much more that we should be implementing. So if I have to make it, sorry, I thought it was short. To make it short, I will show you a short movie which is resuming what I said.
In 2022, the digital revolution and energy transition are still transforming society. More and more services are being dematerialized. The development of renewable energies has become considerable, and the tendency to consume locally has picked up speed. New functions are enabled on the network, consuming your own electricity production, electric mobility, storage. In 2022, Enedis, a reference among distribution system operators, has developed new solutions and transformed its trades in order to satisfy new expectations. Enedis relies on the excellence of its fundamentals and builds on a more and more digital network, particularly thanks to Linky. New mobile and digital tools increase the safety and efficiency of field operations. With the installation of new communicating equipment, including Linky, Enedis has considerably increased its ability to supervise the network. This cyber-secured infrastructure enables grid faults to be managed better in order to improve service quality. The analysis of data, thanks to big data tools and artificial intelligence, enables better targeting of maintenance tasks and choice of investments. In 2022, Enedis has transformed the management of the network with the customers, producers and collectivities cooperation to better leverage the existing network. Intelligent grid access offerings enable easier integration of renewable energies and electric mobility. Grid control leverages consumption and generation modulation in order to anticipate constraints. To facilitate customers and collectivities projects, self-care decision aid portals and tools are available. In 2022, all Enedis trades have been transformed and new activities have emerged. This means Enedis meets the expectations and requirements of the energy transition and digital revolution in the interest of customers and territories.
So I invite you to come in 2022 and we will see it. Thank you.